Now shifting our focus to another court. This is Bangladesh court holding ex-Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina guilty. The court has come out to in fact pronounce its verdict and has said that Hasina committed crime against humanity. Hasina knew about the firing on the students. Hasina used lethal weapons on protesters. Hasina rejects charges, cries witch hunt. Remember, the first charge against Hasina was of incitement of attack against students and failure to take preventative measures, thus killing hundreds and injuring others in the very protests that had marred Bangladesh in the streets of Dhaka in July 2024. Sheikh Hasina committed crime against humanity. That is one major charge that is being in fact put forward by the Bangladesh trial court at this given point. So yes, and right ahead of this very particular verdict that was to be announced since last night, Bangladesh has been witnessing widespread violence, vandalism, arson, the streets of Dhaka and several other pockets of Bangladesh in fact burning, with protesters also being out on the road. Some of them were also protesters that could be seen, though not involved directly with the very widespread violence, but yes, there were protests by the Awami League supporters as well. But yes, we could see visuals also coming in from Bangladesh of arson and violence, as well as fires and vandalism from several parts of Bangladesh, and especially in Dhaka. The streets were in fact burning last night. And right now we have Pranay Upadhyay joining us back on the broadcast with more details on this. Pranay, this is what we are learning at this given point. Sheikh Hasina, in fact, a little while ago, we had only brought to our viewers that she had cried the charges against her are all foul. But the court has come out to say that Sheikh Hasina is guilty and she is guilty of committing crimes against humanity.
This international court of this tribunal, International Crimes Tribunal, was formed by Sheikh Hasina to prosecute and to try those who helped Pakistani Razakars and Pakistan during the War of Liberation of Bangladesh. But now she is being tried in the same court and the same tribunal, and that too in her absentia, because Sheikh Hasina is in India after she took a refuge there in India after the August 2024 incident, and now the International Tribunal for Crime is prosecuting her, and the charges against her are being announced in the court against Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Besides that, her former Home Minister of Bangladesh, Asaduzzaman Kamal Khan, and Abdullah Al-Mamun, the IGP of Bangladesh, who has now turned as approver. This tribunal is reading out, and they are giving out details that how Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina tried crushing the student uprising, especially in the Dhaka University. How the military equipment and hardware was used to crush in the name of a law and order situation. The transcripts, the phone calls, the conversations, and the witness evidences, all these things are being presented in the court, and the judges of this international crime tribunal are reading out those details. They have listed out the basic legal premises, and in fact, earlier they have been charged on 5 counts, but now, while announcing the verdict, the judges have reframed and the charges, and Sheikh Hasina is being accused of using maximum lethal power to crush the student uprising and the student protest, and her statement of 14th July press conference, where she said that the Razakars will not get jobs, but the children and the grandchildren of the freedom fighters will get the jobs. In fact, this entire thing, if you'll recall, that it started with the modification of the government job quota scheme, and thereafter those who were protesting for the student job quota, they turned into a anti-government protest, and which actually eventually led to a situation where Sheikh Hasina had to leave her country.
Right, so it's all culminated to this verdict being in fact given by the court. And viewers, let's quickly take you through the current condition in Bangladesh as we speak of this very verdict. Right ahead of Hasina's trial at the Bangladesh court, it was Awami supporters who unleashed widespread protests overnight, expressing their frustration over the court proceedings against their leader and demanding Yunus's removal from power. And that wasn't all. Several places across Bangladesh were in fact seen burning amid the widespread arson and vandalism and escalating violence as well. Now, there was a shoot-at-sight order which also was issued by the authorities there after such vandalism was in fact seen on the ground. Meanwhile, Bangladesh's former Prime Minister in exile, Sheikh Hasina herself, released a strongly worded emotional message urging nationwide protests against Yunus. On one side, prosecutors detailed the charges against her are of mass killing, attempted murder, conspiracy, and ordering a violent crackdown on protesters. On the other, Hasina rejects every allegation, calling them false, insisting the trial itself is illegal and claiming that violence was orchestrated by forces loyal to Yunus. She even asserted, "I didn't order any killings," in her message. In her full message, in fact, Hasina argues the 1973 law protocols were ignored, alleges that Yunus seized power unconstitutionally, and stresses that Article 7 forbids the removal of an elected representative. She claims her ouster was pre-planned, something she says Yunus himself hinted at during a Bill Clinton Foundation event.
আজকে আমি জানি আমার বিরুদ্ধে মামলা দিয়েছে। আপনারা জানেন যে সেই কোর্টে চিফ প্রসিকিউটর আমার বিরুদ্ধে যে সমস্ত অভিযোগ এনেছে তা সবই তো মিথ্যা। একটা কোর্টে দাঁড়িয়ে কেউ যদি মিথ্যা অভিযোগ দেয় তা তার বিরুদ্ধে কিন্তু মামলা হয় এবং একসময় হবে। তবে এই কোর্টটাও তো অবৈধ, কারণ 1973 সালে পার্লামেন্টে আইন পাশ করে যুদ্ধ অপরাধীদের বিচারের জন্য এটা করা হয়েছিল। এখানে কিন্তু স্পষ্ট লেখা আছে যুদ্ধ অপরাধীদের বিচার হবে এবং এই আইনের 11(4) অনুচ্ছেদে স্পষ্ট বলাই আছে কিভাবে এই কোর্ট গঠিত হবে, চিফ প্রসিকিউটর থেকে শুরু করে কারা কী হবে সব কিন্তু নির্দেশিকা দেওয়া আছে। কিন্তু এরা কিছুই মানেনি। ইউনুস অবৈধভাবে অসাংবিধানিকভাবে ক্ষমতা দখল করেছে। আমাদের সংবিধানের 7 অনুচ্ছেদে স্পষ্ট লেখা আছে যে নির্বাচিত প্রতিনিধিদের কেউ যদি জোর করে ক্ষমতা থেকে সরায় তাহলে তাদের শাস্তি হবে। কিন্তু ইউনুস তো তাই করেছে, তার মেটিকুলাস ডিজাইনের মাধ্যমে সেটা আমাকে ক্ষমতা থেকে হটিয়েছে। বিল ক্লিন্টন ফাউন্ডেশনের মিটিংয়ে সে সেটা নিজেই স্বীকার করেছে, মাস্টার মাইন্ডেরা সব করেছে।